Your sis is like in the questioning phase. Nothing wrong with that. Questioning's important, right? It's good to talk. It's good to talk and think about it. That's something we were talking about, right? Is like it takes so much effort. Your family's super traditional and conservative, so they only ask you. Well, I'm glad that you're at least like there to talk to her, or whatever pronouns they might use. It's good to have like having supportive family members was so huge for me originally. I originally only came out to one of my brothers because he was gay and I knew that, and I thought, he would be the most likely to have an okay opinion. It turns out he did. But it was really nice, and I don't know if I would have been able to like keep. I don't know if I would have been able to keep going down the path if I hadn't had somebody supportive on my side. It sucks to have a traditional conservative family when you're, living a progressive identity, I guess. Unfortunately, I have decided to change my gender to political, so you're curious? If you want advice, absolutely, I'm happy to talk through it with you. Um, it's something that I try to sign myself up for because it's important to talk about. Live and let live, yeah. Well, I hope so. I mean, I hope ultimately that it is, yeah, not persecuting and hate and stuff. Well, I mean, that was where we were in the U.S. until very recently. So, but still, they won't say it's persecution. They won't say it's hate. They'll just say, "Oh, we're just concerned for the kids." Yeah. Never got into politics until then, but I see it as a necessary evil to think about when everything happening. Yeah, you got to stay informed. Unfortunately, right now, it's just there's so much hatred. There's so many people who are actively seeking to harm my community. It behooves me to be informed because I want to be able to at least light the alarm if people that are less resilient than me need to get the fuck out. No, yeah, the US is on a dangerous backslide into fascism, and it's shocking how quickly it happened. Like, how quickly all of our systems that we were supposed to be able to hold to broke down. Um, and of course, they've been slowly eroded over years and years and infiltrated by people that will willfully ignore the rules, but yeah, no, it's bad. I do not travel to the US. Do not buy things from the US. Do not support the US in any way. It's a fucking fascist dictatorship right now, and I have no fucking idea what's going on. That's a bit extreme, but we're definitely on the way. We're not exactly very friendly to foreigners either, so I'm not sure if it would have been a good experience for you anyway. But racism is cured here, don't worry. No, don't travel here. don't, don't come here. English is your first language, so it'll be fine. Yeah. It'll be fine unless you're like a shade darker than anyone, or I mean, actually, not necessarily true. I like didn't they deport a bunch of like European people for like doing a backpacking trip or something? Yeah, and there's just like we're just like citizens are getting disappeared off the fucking streets. It's literally insane. And remember, friends, the cruelty is the point. The cruelty is the point. They want you to be scared. They want you to stop resisting. They want you to stop talking. Which is why until they silence me, until God strikes me down, I will continue to get on my soapbox and talk about this shit because I think it's important. I think it's important to get the word out there, even if I'm small and stupid and I don't know anything, and even if this never goes anywhere and I'm never successful, I'm never famous, I'm just trying to use my voice for something important. It's not about all of that for me. It's like this is like genuinely important shit that I feel like it's important to talk about. I mean, when I'm talking about Israel Palestine, like it's something I feel I'm morally required to have an opinion on. I don't know if it counts as courageous. I mean, I guess the idea of courage is like fear of like when you still doing something through fear. So I guess like literally it is courageous, but I don't want to see myself as like some sort of martyr or courageous person. I'm just genuinely doing what I feel is important. Even if it ends up not being successful, because it's just what else can I do? I'm just one woman with no power. Yeah, I don't want to give myself too much credit. I'm not like a revolutionary or a leader or anything like that. I'm just a bitch with a microphone. Like I most of the time I'm on here playing Magic the Gathering, and the rest of the time I'm on a soapbox. Like it's just an attempt to do something that I think is important and right, that needs to be done. It's scary that it needs to be, right? And the fear, again, is the point. They want you to be scared. They want you to doubt yourself. They want to push you back in the closet. And it's exhausting. It's always so exhausting to have to defend against all of this injustice and against the misinformation and the lies. They never left the closet. Fair enough, but they're trying to keep you in there. And I don't think you deserve that. These people are weird or different, so we should get rid of them? Absolutely. And I think that genuinely, that perspective comes from a more globalized world where you're able to interact with, see, and, talk to people from other cultures and other walks of life and other things, and be able to, like, get a perspective on things that you don't understand or you might not get exposed to. You don't feel safe to do so. I totally understand that. We're pushed, and this I'm gonna get on my soapbox again, and I'm say we're pushed under capital to be entirely individualistic. It's this that we're sold the idea of individualism, right? Where you make your own choices and things like that, but we're pushed into a very specific box of productivity. You have to make your value is only determined by like how much money you make, how successful you are, all of these metrics that are tied to money. I mean, even my ex, who was big into like knitting and crocheting, was always asked every time she told about her hobby to somebody, like, are you selling these? Are you making money off of it? As if that was some sort of judgment metric. But it was just like a hobby. Why does that matter? The more people are entrenched in one way of living, I think, and I saw this described in a sci-fi story once, that humans have such a strong bonding instinct that they even bond to ideas. And a lot of the time, the first idea that you hear is in your head stays as like the most important one. And you naturally, as a person, reject evidence to the contrary because you have that bond to this thought that you had, whether or not that thought is originally yours. No, America is very America-centric. You're meant to just kind of immerse yourself in American culture. I think being able to be exposed to people of many walks of life through the internet, as well as just having an upbringing that allowed me to interact with people of all different social classes, it made me I'm very fortunate to have like developed the opinions that I am, because again, all people are products of their circumstance. I don't necessarily think that a person is evil for having a belief or something like that. It's the actions on that belief that are, when they actively cause harm and intentionally cause harm, that I believe that that's really truly doing evil. It's like, again, it's the difference between transphobia and transmisia, or homophobia and homomisia. Some of the holidays in the US are pretty fire. Thanksgiving does rule. It's a day to eat a bunch of food and get fat and then sleep. Listen, its origin not great. Its origin not great, but it is a cool little thing. And I do think that like traditions, I think traditions can like deviate over time from their origin. And while it's important to like recognize that origin if it comes from a place of harm, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to continue to celebrate a holiday with a bad origin. Oh, and leftovers. I love leftovers from holidays. Oh. I don't think that Americans, on average, are ready to, like, reckon with the fact that America is founded on a genocide. Like, I don't think we're ready to do that. They've pushed so much propaganda down our throats as we're growing up that it's genuinely frustrating. And I don't think the average American is ready to reckon with the fact that what happened to the Native Americans was absolutely a genocide. I think that, and of course that's why we support Israel, because we have to in order to justify our own existence. Remember, kids, cover your face when you go to protests. And don't post pictures of your fit online. I think having a conservative mindset, especially in a world that's been accelerating so fast towards the more progressive, probably just, it leads you to just so much more misery than you were like than you would necessarily have to deal with on average. I mean, you have to be, in order to be a reactionary, you need to feel like you're constantly under assault, right? You're being reactionary to the things that are being changed around you. People are naturally stubborn, right? I'm opposed to change. I don't like it when things change. It's just part of who I am. I like to dig my heels in and do this. It is easy to keep doing the same thing every single day. It's hard to break myself out of habits and do things that are better for me. It's through forming that habit that we become better and stronger people. And I think that that is an important thing to push, right? Like, society trends towards more progressive because that's what the world wants, I think. I think it's what people want more in general. More people want to be accepted for the kind of person they are. I think people are naturally collaborative and highly individualistic, which means we like to have our own identity and our own self and our own uniqueness and things that make us special. But we also like collaborating with people and meeting people and sympathizing and empathizing with people. It's part of why stories are so important to humanity and to like human culture. No matter what kind of art we're creating, we're always telling a story. We're teaching a lesson. We're communicating an internal experience, which is very core to us as being a person, and trying to relate that, like the lessons within things about life through a story. And that's why we interpret art. That's why we watch movies and read books and all of these things. It's important for our enrichment, but also for our development. And I think exposure to more things like that, more stories from people from all around the world, helps us develop more empathy, helps us develop, love for the people around us. If we're taught to accept things as they are instead of be so scared, I think that can be unlearned. I think maybe human stubbornness is intrinsic, but I do not think human hatred is an intrinsic trait, right? I think that people tend more often than not towards good than evil, if there is such a thing. I would like to believe that if there is a hell, it is empty. Because I do not think that anyone deserves to suffer forever. It's all about power, right? It's about people playing at power because we are desperate to control what little of this insane world that we can, because we only have so much time here, and it's very difficult to leave a mark on a world so big and incomprehensible and complicated. Some people are very determined to do it, though. You can still participate in capitalism while critiquing it. It is possible to do both things, and in fact, from inside of the system is maybe the most important and like most genuine place that you can critique a system from. Well, money is safety, right? Especially in the world that we live in. Um, Money is safety because we live under capital. Money is power, and power provides safety. You can buy safety, you can buy stability, you can buy peace of mind, more or less. You can't buy happiness, maybe, but you can buy stability. And that is a good foundation for happiness. So I do think that it's okay to like money, but the bad comes from the greed of exploitation. Exactly. It's when you push beyond into greed. It's okay to have a little personal hoard. I mean, I have a little personal hoard. Look at all my books. Look at all my kitschy objects. I just, like, these all cost money. All of the stuff that I surround myself with is stuff that I enjoy, stuff that I love, stuff that I need, that I don't need, but it enriches me. It makes me happier. It would be nice if we didn't have to worry about money for these kinds of things. If we could just live in a world where, like, but unfortunately that's not like the world that we live in. We can idealize it all we want, but I think that the emphasis on family is good. I think as long as it is not used to like weaponize loyalty. That's a thing. Again, I can only really critique Christianity just because it's what I'm familiar with as an organized religion. But the society that I grew up in, being mired in Christianity, is lots of paternal devotion. And that is obviously descended from, respect thy father, or honor thy father, honor thy mother. Your children are seen as more like an extension of you. And they should offer loyalty to their father in the same way that the father offers blind devotion to God. It's a metaphor for fatherhood, right? It's a very paternal religion. And I worry that, like, again, all family is a good value to have, but it can, like all things, be turned against you. It can be turned into a weapon, just like any knife. Right? A knife can be used to cut vegetables, or it can be used to kill somebody. It's the way that you use that tool. For me, family is not blood, right? I think it's a definitional difference. Family is the people that you trust to be there for you when you need it. And maybe that is just like a more queer experience of family, just because we are so... A lot of us do have to, unfortunately, in the Western society that we are mired in, have to give up so much of our family. Like, so much of us have to give up our family, or by blood, in order to live a life that makes us happy and fulfilled. Which I just don't think can be a bad thing. I mean, another thing about Christian religion is that it espouses this great reverence for martyrdom and suffering on Earth, and a lot of especially Puritans believe all hedonism, all enjoyment in life is sin, or temptation at the very least, which leads to sin. And so ultimately, I think a lot of Christians see being happy as sin, which is a natural conclusion for that thought process. I don't think it's their fault, but it's very obvious to me. Going on with the Pope so far, he's dead. Or are we talking about a new Pope? Is there a new Pope yet? I don't know. Did Pope Pizza Pasta get elected? I don't know how popes work. I don't know anything about religion. I know a lot of things about religion. I just don't know anything about how religion, like organized religion, works because I don't respect it enough to learn. Something about smoking a bunch of weed in the Capitol and whatever color it comes out is the name of the Pope or whatever. I mean, he's got a funny name now, but eventually if he does get picked as the Pope, he's gonna have to change his name, and it's gonna be something a lot more normal, like, or a lot more like generic, like, Penne Regatta or something, right? That was a joke. You're allowed to laugh. Yeah, and hit me up if you have any questions. We have a Discord server where you can connect with me or whatever. If you've got genuine questions, as long as you're engaging in good faith, I'm happy to answer. I mean, you know, identity is difficult. It's not fixed, and it's hard to understand, especially for somebody that might not have the language or might not even like have the experience, right? So I try to offer my insight. I have opinions. I've always been an opinionated little bitch. I've just gotten better at actually saying them instead of hiding them inside my butt. Wow, what the fuck am I talking about? Why did I say it like that?